Hello, welcome to the Queue. It is the next YouTube war, and it is Global War 36 version 4.2, and the name will be Operation 20th Corps. And this is in honor of my grandfather on my father's side. He served in the 20th Corps, I believe, in the 4th Armored Division and then the 80th Infantry Division. Um, but this is a pamphlet that my grandpa gave me from Organization Day in September of 1945, which was the third anniversary of the 20th Corps. And I looked up the history there, and apparently this was before that it was called the 4th Armored Corps. They changed it to 20th, just Army Corps, I guess, or 20th Corps. Took the armored out. So when he came over from the States, he went to England as part of the supply unit. I'm going to assume for the 4th Armored Division. They were stationed in northern England, part of Patton's Third Army that was the decoy for the Normandy landings, the decoy that the Germans thought would come over at the Pas de Calais area. So when Normandy went down on D-Day, he was sitting it out in England. They didn't get till France, I think, until late July, early August, just before they started to break out of the Normandy area. So the book here, it has a little stuff and history, and that was kind of his name. I'll cover up the serial number there. He was corporal by the time the war ended. Little history, and which is interesting to read because it's very slanted, U.S. wise. Not a lot of credit given to Germany for the Battle of the Bulge. As a matter of fact, there's like one sentence somewhere in here, and it calls it, here it is, von Rundstedt's Great Attack through the Ardennes. And that's pretty much it. And so that book, and that's Walker is the lieutenant general, but the first part here the is by George S. Patton there. So that's kind of cool to have a piece of history like that. Um, so a little bit about what I recall about my grandfather's journey, his war journey. When they got to France, like I said, he was in supply, the 4th Armored Division, and as they moved across France and into the fall, especially after the battles around Metz, um, the casualties were enough that they were starting to run low on infantry. So he was transferred from supply to the infantry. And that was probably about a month before the Germans launched their offensive in the Ardennes. And being part of the the division, the 4th Armored, and I think the other one was the 80th Infantry. Um, and that might be where he was transferred to be in the infantry, was the 80th Infantry. Either way, those two units or divisions, I think, were two of the three divisions that Patton sent north um, into the Bulge to try and relieve Bastogne. I do remember his stories about him and Bastogne and the Battle of the Bulge, and some very interesting stuff there. And then from that point on to the end of the war, he was in the infantry, that 80th Infantry Division, and moved across into Germany, and then finally, at war's end, um, still in the infantry, but through the occupation time, because I think he was there in Germany through maybe October. He just said fall, so I'm assuming October, November. Um, back into the supply, because there wasn't a huge amount a need for more infantry at that time. So kind of interesting. He started out in France in supply, switched over to combat, and then back into supply after VE Day in Europe. He never mentioned anything about his group unit being primed to go over to Japan, but that's just a lot of things. I was young, so I'm hoping I'm getting most of this right from memory. It would be great to really iron out more details, but the other interesting thing is that he was at one time he was stationed at the same base as my grandmother, who he met, and they married after the war was over when he returned to the States. So it was kind of interesting. Both my grandma and grandpa on that side both served in the Army and in different capacities, obviously, but still pretty cool. So in honor of my grandpa, this game will be the Operation 20th Corps, and we will have a return of Panzer J to the group. He will be handling Germany and Italy. Boston Bruce will be handling Japan. We have a combo team for Russia, Silk and Randall. Randall, Sarge's Shellhole, who was in this last game, Operation RCT, and he is moving, so he won't be able to actually follow the game and keep it going until he gets moved and set up in his new house. So that's going to be a month or so down the road. So Silk is going to fill in and then hang on as an advisory when Randall can or Sergeant Shellhole can take over. I keep saying their real names because I know them, after playing many games with them, but I need to keep it to the the actual handles for the YouTube, so you guys know who we're talking about. Finally, the Commonwealth will be played by Global War Enthusiast again. That way, I can handle the U.S. and maybe I can get the 20 Corps into France, take Paris. That'd be cool. So anyway, that game should be starting here shortly. I will be out of town, so I think Global War Enthusiast will be taking the first 2 U.S. turns probably, maybe just one, but either way, it's the U.S. and there's not a lot to do. I will create a playlist and I will put everyone's turns in there from the start. So if you just give me a handful of days, and then you can look up that playlist and start watching from the beginning. Everybody's turn. If you're not subscribed to their channels, and if you're not, you probably should. And we'll get the game going. So thanks for listening to me ramble on about my grandfather's unit in World War II.